Hello and welcome back to my Lego City room where I'm about to blow a bunch of minds, especially of people who have been watching this space for quite some time. You know exactly where I'm standing right now. You know exactly where I'm walking right now based on what you see around, behind me, and to the sides. And you know that this should not be possible, what I'm doing right now. None of this should be possible whatsoever. Well, a lot has changed. Though I've had far too little time to work in this space over the past 2 to 3 years because of all the other stuff I've been doing, I have tried to make incremental updates to improve the viewing experience for all of you and for myself. You know, just every time I walk through this room, I want to feel good about it. And honestly, I had not felt quite right about it. There have been a bunch of things that I've been uncomfortable with, but I have never done anything major to this space until now. I took out the entire table that was over here, the entire full-size table that was over here. And in the center of the layout, there was a half-size table. That one's not gone yet, but it's been moved to the side and will soon be disassembled. The one that was here is completely gone. It's disassembled. It doesn't exist. Well, the tabletop exists anymore, but it is out of the picture entirely. This little guy is going to be disassembled soon enough. But you can see just how little really good used space there was on this entire table. It was mostly just roads. I mean, the transit center part worked for me, you know, it made sense, and the skate park was cool and that can be relocated, but all this is basically wasted space. But the most important thing, like, forget about for a minute space and efficiency, which is the main thing, well, are the main things that I cared about for the first handful of years of building the city, starting from old JANG City to moving it over to here. Just being able to get in and see things and experience stuff up close rather than having to stand back here at the edge of something and then zoom. Like, look at the Blau House. If I zoom you way in right now, you could see it. I want to be able to walk right up to it, and well, guess what? Now I can. I can walk right up to this gas station that I've moved around several times in the past, but that I really like the look of, that brings joy to me personally. And for the longest time, I've had to crawl underneath a table or two to get to even see this, and then there's just a very limited amount of space that I could walk around in. I could never just walk right up to this and enjoy it. I would have to, you know, just sit back from a distance. But now all of this walk-in space is available, and yeah, you can see the fact that there's nothing inside of there, but as I bring people back into this space, as I add detail to these streets, as I add detail to the edges of the train line, we'll get back to that. That's really important to me, of course. You know, I'll be able to actually experience this, and I'll be able to actually share it with all of you. Not to mention, there's a lot of mess over there, but over on this side, okay, this is changing, has changed, and will change further. The station, which previously, you know, this is the main platform side of it. This was facing that way, so you could see it from the other side of the table, but more than half of it, like 3/4 of it, was blocked by this first skyscraper over here. That was no good. You know, this nice thing I put so much time into, and most of it couldn't even be seen. You could see the back side of it with the transit center that extended out here a little bit. But again, you'd have to, or I would have to come up to the edge of it and then kind of lean in with the camera and you can see there's stuff there. But now it's just here. It's just right here. Thinking about putting the skate park in this space. Not 100% certain about that. Anything that looks obviously undone is obviously undone. Anything that is incomplete is incomplete. You know, the usual applies to that. But I think this is going to work much better. And all right, let's get to it. Let's talk about rail lines. Train stuff is really important to me. I really like trains. I like trains a lot. And so being able to see trains is pretty important to me. The thing that got me started doing all of this, making this massive change here, this very disruptive change, was looking around the whole thing and thinking, okay, what can I do to allow myself to see trains more? Because I really enjoy them and I want to share that joy. And I realized I have this huge, long, straight run of track around the outside from my main loop that's used for the cargo line for freight trains. But it's next to the downtown area where the first skyscraper is, the rest of the skyscrapers are going to go and stuff like that. You know, it's like office space. Why is there a freight line that goes past that? It doesn't make sense. Also, the fact that this is up against the wall means that while I can walk along there, I again have to bring the camera way down, way below me to be able to even capture a train going by in a, you know, from a decent angle. And then I can't really experience that well, and it's kind of dark, you know, because the lights are on the other side, so this side over here is kind of dark, and it just wasn't making sense to me. Like, why do I have my favorite stuff, my freight trains, spending so much time in the dark by the downtown area? And it's like, can I change that? At least with a passenger train loop going around out there, it would make more sense. You know, it just kind of would fit in with the motif a little bit better. And so let's see, what was the first thing that I did? Oh yeah, I was thinking about taking the freight loop, which goes around the outside here, you know, goes through that feature, comes out here, and then at this point would cut across. It would cut across here, across a land bridge, and then go around the outside. And I was like, okay, what if it didn't cut across anymore? What if it went straight down? I was like, oh yeah. And then I could see the train and I could actually just walk right up to it. You know, this is not that much of a different angle from what I personally see being in this space. You know, I have bent down just a little bit to capture this right here. But ultimately, there's that entire line now where you can see the train coming by. And that makes a lot more sense because this is intended to be like industrial area over here. It makes a lot more sense for the freight train to go past there. And then I was like, wait now, okay, so the passenger line previously went through here to get to that other passenger train station over there. And then I've got the passenger train yard over here. Okay. Loop. So freight goes around over here. Passenger train goes around over here. And then what if I connect them to in such a way, this isn't done yet, but when it is done, it's very, very close. It's very, very close. When it is done, I'll be able to put a camera on a train car like I've done for my live streams from this room over on Twitch. And I'll be able to take a single train with all y'all on it around here, all the way down that outside, back behind the hospital, around here, through here. It'll cut to the inner bit of loop over here, and then it'll continue on, and then that inner bit of loop will cut back to the outside and go all the way around, and then come all the way back here, or the other direction. I think this is the correct direction for the camera version. Through here and then back here. Like, you'll be able to tour the entire city by train in one fell swoop without me going through flipping any switches or anything. That's kind of cool. I like that idea. So this is what I've arrived at up to this point. This is not a whole lot, well, it's a fair amount of work, but there's a fair amount yet remaining to be done to make this more of a reality. The biggest thing that I need to work on is this space over here. Let me actually walk over there. So the way things are set up now, what previously was the passenger loop, you know, the inner loop, is now the freight train loop. That's this line right here. It goes around and it's going to loop back on the other side, and that's what connects to that line that you see there. And then ultimately it goes back around and then comes out here, and there's just a little kink in the line right here to bring it back to where it had been going. It is a little bit awkward that it brings it directly past this passenger train station at this point, and I need to work on figuring out what to do with this. If I want this to be more of a longer distance passenger train station, if I want to keep the freight train farther away from it and just have a little small, simple space where a long distance passenger train could actually switch over and, you know, deliver and pick up passengers and then switch back to a single main line. However, there is the fact that, ignore this train being here. there is the fact that I believe this is called a leader. I need to look up the proper rail terms for it. But this right here, which is going to end at some point, essentially a straight line that gives switchers now a space to pull lines of cars out from this classification yard over here and move them together. So it now has room, rather than using the main line as it used to have to do. This was the main line. So if I wanted to pull 3 of those cars on the far left out with a switcher, and then connect them with a car, put a car at the end of that line that's in a different siding over here, I would have to pull all that out onto the main line, which is not a good thing, and then go back, and plus going through the switches, which are still not absolutely optimal at this point. But now this is not main line. This is not main line. This is main line over here. This is main line, and the only main line. The connector that we have right here is just that. It's just a connector. That is ultimately what connects us out to the shed and some other sidings, but it also connects around the other side to the back side of the passenger loop, and that's what will allow continuous movement, because you can't use the same connector going both ways, just because of the electrical connections going through the 9-volt tracks. You don't want to create a Y situation where something goes around and it's going to connect back in reverse polarity. So I need to have 2 connections over to there, and I've got that. So I've got one going through the inside and one going through the outside, just reusing some stuff that I already have here. All that is going to work out just fine. But what's not working for me right now is this in here, because I've got this, the way that things have been changed. I've got the passenger train, the workshop would go there, and then the kind of the storage for rolling stock that's not in current use, basically on the freight train line. The freight train main line is here now, and this is connected to that, and it's just awkward. Like if I want to pull out the Metro line or the Amtrak line to get it onto the passenger line around the city, this has to go around here, and then it's going to go all the way around. It's going to end up here, and then it has to switch over to the other side. It's very awkward. It wasn't designed for that, right? This was specifically designed and set up for the way that I had things before, and I don't have things that way anymore, and now it's weird. Also, the stuff over here is switched off from a turn, so I've got a very tight turn. An almost minimum radius turn there, unfortunately, is required, not something that I like. I'll try to hide some of that away so at least we don't see it. And I'll also add in another voltage, another main electrical connection around there to make sure that it keeps a strong connection, minimal voltage drop through that critical turn. But ultimately, I don't want to have a minimum radius turn immediately going into switches and yards and stuff. So that all really needs to be figured out, needs to be worked out, as well as what to do with the passenger station over there. But ultimately, I have made some massive, massive changes that are going to allow me to feel a heck of a lot better than I have for years about the overall layout of this space. It's no longer absolutely optimized for available tabletop space to build upon, with the knowledge that I'm gonna run out of space no matter how big I make it. So I might as well try to get as much out of it as I can while I can. That whole mentality has finally been defeated. I thought I defeated the mentality before, but the work that was done with that mentality persisted. I changed a bunch of stuff around with bringing things closer to where we are, bringing things closer to the table so we could see things better, removing a lot of things that were blocking visibility. But the fact that I could not easily just walk right into this center space, and I couldn't really experience the entire inner rung, almost half of the city, without crawling underneath the table and then popping up in a small awkward space and crawling under again, popping up in another small awkward space, was, it was just not making me happy. And I really felt that and really felt bad about that, especially when I got into streaming from this space, and I wanted to walk around and take people to different places with my little remote cameras that I can move around, and I couldn't do that effectively. Well, now I can, because I personally, as a huge fig, can walk around this space. There's still this awkward thing over here because there's a fireplace, a built-in fireplace on the other side here. So I still can't walk around this outside as easily as I would like to, but I don't need to, because I can walk all the way around over to here just fine, and I can walk all the way through here just fine. So I can access so much stuff that I just couldn't easily before. It's all kind of a big deal. There's a lot more work to be done, but I'm really, really happy with the direction now. And I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of inspiration. There are a lot of challenges, but the challenges feel like they're going to be fun. They've already been fun up to this point, and I've been making a lot of progress in the time that I have been able to spend here. So stay tuned for more updates. Thank you for your patience. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon.